And next on Morning Focus, we're going to be talking about a major boost for youth services in East Clare because Fishbowl Youth in Scariff has secured over €274,000 in national funding to transform the old Scariff co-op into a dedicated youth and community space. Joining me now is Emma Sams, a volunteer youth leader with Fishbowl for over 23 years, who's been at the heart of the project from the very beginning. Good morning to you, Emma.
Good morning, Alan.
Thanks very much for being with us. That sounds like a nice wedge of cash, over €274,000 in national funding. I would imagine the reaction from Fishbowl Youth was fairly positive when you heard that. But what is that going to do for you?
Yeah, we're very excited, and a lot of hard work went into that funding application, I can tell you. We are going to completely refurbish the building with that money so that it will be ready to use as a youth and community centre.
And
so it's a big boost for the community, you know.
And the need for a community centre and a permanent youth space in particular is something that you have been very strong on. Why is it so important in the area?
Well, Fishbowl was actually started by a group of young people that 23 years ago, you know, because they felt there wasn't this space for them. They wanted to be heard, they wanted to be supported to achieve things, and that's what we've done. You know, as voluntary adults, we support the young people to do projects and get involved in stuff, you know, but more than anything it creates this safe space for them where they feel like they have ownership of it. It's their space, it's not school, it's not home, but it's their space where they can be social, which is so important. You've
been with Fishbowl for over 2 decades, and I'm sure you've seen some highs, and I'm sure you've seen quite a few struggles and some lows as well. You know, particularly with Fishbowl having to deal with not having a permanent base. What kind of challenges has that brought over the years? Yeah, we've often struggled with that because there aren't those kind of spaces available, and we end up, although at the moment, you know, we're lucky enough to have a space that we can use, but we don't have any storage there. We can't have anything of our own there. You know, a youth club is lovely if there's a pool table or a ping pong table, a couple of sofas. You know, it's not much that's needed. But when you're sharing a space, we have a box with a few games and some tea bags in it, you know, that we can store where we are currently in the East Clare Community Co-op. But it still thrives. It still has that heartbeat because it's about the young people. And when they come, it's full of lovely energy. You know, and what kind of lovely energy are you going to see in the old Scariff co-op? What makes that building such a good fit for your permanent base now? Well, it's interesting really because a long time ago when it was a shop, we found out, because we've been looking into the history of the building, which we want to be sensitive to. It was in fact almost like a youth club, because when it was a shop and Scariff Community College first started and it was called the Tech and the numbers were much lower, the entire school used to go over there for their lunch break and hang out in the room that was full of feed bags and fertiliser sacks, and they used to sit there and eat their boiled sweets and their packets of potatoes, and it was almost like it was a youth club. So when we approached the old committee that looked after the building, they were really happy for us to take it on because they liked our ethos of putting young people at the forefront, and you know that keeps that kind of feel of the building going. You secured 50 letters of support from local businesses and groups, Emma, which, you know, you've mentioned some of the hard times that Fishbowl Youth has faced, but when you're trying to secure a permanent youth space, you get that level of support. It must be so heartening. What does that level of backing say? Not just about how locals feel you need that space, but how they feel about the positive impact Fishbowl Youth has had. Yes, and we had letters from parents in the past, members in the past. All the work that was put into the funding application was pretty much done by past members who want, you know, these people who are now adults want to see the same opportunities for the young people in the area as they had. And, we were just blown away by the level of support. It's a much needed thing, and that's really obvious. Plus, it's a building that's sitting empty that we're bringing life back into, and that we want to be sensitive to the history of it. So it's an important community building that we're going to bring back and give a positive life to again. Having a permanent youth space gives so many youngsters a place to socialise, a place to meet others and enjoy themselves. Many former members are now youth workers, trainers and community leaders. I'd imagine that makes you all feel so proud to see them turn into good citizens.
It does. It's lovely to have been part of that over the years, to see young people grow up to be such wonderful people. I mean, they're wonderful when they were young, but to be able to give back, to have the opportunity to give back, and to see them doing well all over the world. The people that put the funding application together, we were having meetings online, and somebody might be in Australia or New Zealand or somewhere in Europe, and they're still taking part. It's fantastic. It's a real big family almost at this point.
What happens now, now that the funding is secured? Because I believe there's still a 10% fundraising target to meet. So how can people help with that as well?
Yes, so we're actually meeting this weekend to have a little celebratory lunch as well, but to start to put together our fundraising campaign. So we will have a fundraising campaign, and we will advertise that once we've got that up and running. We'll probably have a GoFundMe page or something similar. But I'm sure, I was talking to the young people from the youth club last week, and they came up with some fantastic ideas of ways to raise money. We're going to have a lot of people and a lot of past members putting effort into coming up with fun ideas to raise money. So, yeah, we don't feel worried about having to raise that because we've got so much energy behind it.
Okay, well, look, we wish you well with raising that anyway, and congratulations on securing that funding, and a permanent youth space is going to be transformative for Scariff. So thank you very much for being with us on Thursday's Morning Focus. Emma Sams there, volunteer youth leader with Fishbowl Youth.